help, Andy's not doing it right.
Nothing has changed between takes.
Ow! Andy, you messed up the score when the ball got stuck on you.
My mistake for living in an actual room in our house designated as a safe place for me to exist! This must be so tragic for your score and... What exactly?
Peglin!
Of course. What's...
Peglin is a game about Pechinko mostly. You drop orbs, balls, spheres, saw blades, and more at the angle that serves you best, whether that be getting the most bounces or the least, in an attempt to defeat enemies, gather relics and research points, and beat 3 bosses.
So it's a roguelike.
Yeah. But it's one I've been excited about, following for nearly a year, and that shadow dropped during the most recent Nintendo Double Direct, which was a huge shock. We were going away to PAX West. We had a 5-hour flight. The perfect time to dust off my non-existent Pechinko skills so I can dominate in Peglin.
Wait, it's called Peglin, but you're dusting off your Pechinko skills?
Yes. Does this confuse you?
Yes. Pechinko is about dropping things into specific areas at the bottom of the board to acquire prizes. Or to ruin lives in Mario Party 4.
Well, that's not what I expected to happen.
Oh, you do that to move between rooms. If you miss, you take damage and get another chance to drop a ball.
And otherwise?
Oh, you bounce on different pegs on the pegboard to raise the damage you do to enemies in turn-based combat. The orbs you have and acquire will bounce differently and cause different effects on the pegboard. Some will place armor on pegs to allow them to take multiple bounces, others will spread bouncy slime on them to make the peg bouncy, others will split into multiple balls to bounce on even more pegs.
You said the word peg 6 times in that explanation, and you're still going to dust off your Pechinko skills.
Yes!
Cool. Why is your Peglin doing this? What is the story of this confusion-free roguelike?
You are a Peglin, this adorable Pechinko or Peglin or Slay the Spire obsessed green creature who must venture out to defeat plants, slimes, bats, and even more in an attempt to... Actually, I have no idea. The game wordlessly places you on this adventure with no real goal or point in mind. You simply understand things that are not you need to die, and there's bosses at the end of these areas that, when defeated, will allow passage to the next area. It actually didn't occur to me that the game had no tangible story until maybe my 3rd run through the game. Why the hell was I doing this?
Let's see if I can spy why, with my researching eyes, why oh why you're so inclined to decide and preside over orbs and spheres to utilize them several times.
I could see your gears grinding to create that sentence.
As it happens, Steam has the answer. The dragons, plural, have been popping Peglins and stealing your gold forever. So you, as a Peglin, decided your fate is to fight the dragons, plural, and take back your gold and the lives of your people. That's pretty noble.
It would be if it mattered.
What do you mean?
Peglin has no meta progression whatsoever. 0 of any of what you obtain in your runs carries over to the next run. You can spend none of what you have to make future runs easier or harder. You learn nothing about anything to make any future play of this game any different than what you just experienced. You have a 1 in 70 chance of obtaining parts of enemies in battle, which reward you with research points upon defeat though. The amount of points is a drop in the bucket that you actually have to fill for each enemy, however. These enemies are encountered randomly, so are bosses. Imagine grinding for these when bosses only have a chance to appear, and an even lower chance of dropping any research points.
That's an interesting way of saying every Peglin death means nothing to the next Peglin that sets out on this very same adventure.
The story, progression, and carryover of Peglin may confound and confuse the simple man, but the gameplay is pretty solid. You start with and can obtain several types of orbs and spheres that have differing effects depending on how many pegs are hit. Each of them has a description, a look, an amount of these, and an amount of critical pegs on them. This number is the amount hitting a peg will add to your regular attack. This number is how much will add after touching a critical peg. You can also scroll through each orb's upgrades to see what changes each time you make them stronger. Guess how many runs it took me to realize I wasn't buying the upgraded versions of these, but instead the level 1 versions lacking any of the power the upgrades could have.
5.
6.
Oh.
6 plays of me wondering why certain abilities were weaker than they were explained to me after acquiring the orb, only to realize that this was the game's way of saying, oh, you can have this for 25 more coins. Why not wait until we pick the upgrade option to show us the upgrades?
On one hand, you've played video games before, right? On the other, I do see where that can get confusing. Also, why is so much of the screen so blank? Why is there so much dead space on every screen in Peglin?
So they can, I don't know. Probably to fit the pegboard on screen. screen, which can be almost any size as it is the focus of most of the game. I do agree, however, text is incredibly tiny and often orb descriptions are cut off when in battle.
I can see where this review is going, and we should probably stop before we repeat ourselves further. Peglin seems like a massive confusion. It does combine Peglin and Pechinko into an interesting game mechanic that serves as the backbone for most of the adventure. Unfortunately, that combination seems to have hogged most of the spotlight because the rest of the game really needs some work. Menus, icon descriptions, or even definitions, text size, screen space, story, and even basic progression seem to have suffered in place of building an okay way to battle enemies.
I did eventually beat Peglin after my 7th run. It was an empty victory. I felt like I had dropped in one of those fire-filled pachinko holes that damage you if you fall in, only for the game to start me over again at the beginning as if I liked being hurt. I liked wasting my time. I liked fire.
You don't like fire?
This one is a miss for us. If you liked Peglin, cool, continue to like it. We did not.
Thank you for dusting off your pachinko skills to drop your eyes into our review. James wrote that sentence and didn't see a single thing wrong with it. A wordsmith, that one. Anyway, thank you for watching. Be sure to tell us what you think of Peglin in the comments. Share this video and we'll see you soon at dinner. I hear there's gonna be chicken.
It's turkey.
Oh. Maybe we won't see you at dinner then.